Hello there and welcome to the final video of our series looking at the First World War for the iGCSE Edexcel topic 1905-1918, and of course we're looking at why the Allies won the war. Okay, so there are numerous reasons why the Allies won the war, and perhaps the first reason might be to consider that they used new technology more wisely than the Central Powers did. So the threat of U-boats, for instance, was one of the threats the British faced, and they introduced new technology and tactics to stop the threat of the U-boat. So they started to develop mines, depth charges, and Q-boats, these armoured cargo ships, to stop the impact of the U-boats, particularly in 1917, from starving out the British. Also, they developed a hydrophone, and this could listen to noises underwater, so they could hear U-boats from many miles away. This meant they could prepare for them and stop their threat. Also, perhaps the Allies started to use aircraft a little bit better by the end of the war to support their offences. So planes became much stronger, made out of metal, and more powerful engines could go further. This meant they could carry more things and fly long distances, of course. By the end of the war, they could also support attacks effectively by dropping bombs. For example, the Allies used them to drop bombs on the German spring offensive. They also used them to support their counterattack in the summer of 1918 by dropping ammunition and supplies to armies that were maybe far away from their supply lines. But perhaps the most significant technological development was the tank, something the Allies really invested in, whereas the Germans did not. So they helped to win battles. By 1917, the Mark IV tank was far more effective. At the Battle of Cambrai, 400 tanks were used, and they smashed through the German defences and took 8 kilometres. In August 1918, the Battle of Amiens, 600 tanks were used to spearhead the attack. It was like a metal cavalry smashing through the enemy, and they took up to 32 kilometres in that attack. Although tanks were still a little bit unreliable, with only 32 of the tanks still being operational at the end of the battle. Also, new infantry weapons were important, and infantry tactics. The French devised the idea of rapid attacks of small groups of soldiers using flamethrowers, guns and grenades to have a lightning strike on the enemy. However, it was actually the Germans who used this tactic most effectively. They found these French plans and they used them with the idea of stormtroopers. This was one of their main tactics they used in their spring offensive. Next, let's consider the failure of the spring offensive as the reason why the Allies won. So Ludendorff wanted to lead one last great battle for the Germans to try and win the war. He hoped to capitalise on Russia withdrawing from the war and moving everything from east to the west, and having a final victory before the Americans could really impact the war. So this is very much an all-out gamble, and if it wasn't a success, then perhaps Germany would lose the war. So the main events, 21st of March 1918, the German army began bombarding the British and French with over 1 million shells fired across a 150-kilometre front. At this time, thousands of German stormtroopers attacked under the cover of mustard gas, and by the end of the day, it had been one of the largest breakthroughs of the war. Battle continued with German soldiers advancing up to 60 kilometres in some places by April 1918. The German army was back at the River Marne, near to Paris, and victory looked in sight. Obviously, the battle eventually failed, the spring offensive. And what was some of the impact of the fact this offensive ground to a halt eventually? Well, of course, the Germans lost many soldiers in this offensive. 200,000 were lost, and many of them were the most experienced soldiers left in the German army. The offensive had overstretched the German supply lines and left them vulnerable to counterattack, which is why it eventually ground to a halt. By June 1918, 50,000 US soldiers were arriving every week to help slow down the spring offensive of the Germans. And by July 1918, the final German attack had failed. The German army was exhausted, overstretched, lost some of its best soldiers and relying on maybe weaker or inexperienced soldiers. So next we're on to another cause, which is the success of the Allied counterattack, of course, maybe the 100-day campaign. So some of the main events are as follows. We've got the 8th of August 1918, British, French and Anzac troops broke through with a devastating attack led by 400 tanks. Within a week they'd taken 20 kilometres of land, and Ludendorff called this the Black Day of the German army. He could see defeat on the horizon. By September, the Allies had reached the last line of German defence, the Hindenburg Line. And here US soldiers helped to lead an offensive of over 1.2 million soldiers, and they smashed through the Hindenburg Line. They only lost around 26,000 soldiers, which obviously showed the major achievement they had led at this huge offensive. So now the Germans started to retreat. And to slow the Allies down, they destroyed bridges, they poisoned local water supplies, they blocked roads. Without the Hindenburg Line, it looked like defeat for the Germans. So the general feeling for the Germans was now that they lacked the soldiers and the equipment to fight on, and Ludendorff tried to convince the Kaiser of the need for peace by around October 1918. German soldiers, less experienced, unwilling to fight, didn't have the determination now they were going to win the war, were surrendering in large numbers. It seems the German people all said the war was over and there was no point now fighting on. So one of the other factors to consider is, of course, the US Army's arrival. This gave a huge boost to the Allies at a time when Russia left the war. America brought in millions of tons of food, weapons and equipment to help win the war at a time that Germany was starting to run out of supplies. America provided 2 million fresh soldiers to help stop Ludendorff's spring offensive and have a successful counterattack. And then we also need to consider the impact German home front of the British naval blockade. Some historians will argue that this is where the war was really won and lost. So Germany suffered huge food shortages due to the British naval blockade. For instance, the turnip winter of 1916-17 hit very hard for the German people and of course led to the ill-fated U-boat campaign that brought America into the war. So there's another sort of wider impact for you to consider. Germany continued to suffer right until the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919. The British continued to blockade Germany until they signed for peace, and this led to many more people dying of Spanish flu and starvation and due to lack of medicine and food. And then, of course, we need to consider Germany's overall weakness itself. They did not have the empire or the population or the industrial base of the Allies. They did not have, like France, Britain, a large empire they could call on for hundreds of thousands more soldiers. They did not have the 2 million extra soldiers that the Americans brought. So once Germany ran out of soldiers, they ran out of soldiers. And this meant they were weak by the end of 1918. So this is really highlighted by the fact by November 1918, Germany was pretty much on her own. Bulgaria was defeated in September 1918, Turkey defeated in October, and Austria-Hungary was defeated on the 3rd of November 1918. Germany was on her own. So all these home front issues, the failures on the front line, the lack of allies all came to a head really with the what we might call the revolution that took place in Germany. So by August 1918, this little time I can see that Germany is starting to lose the war and public opinion is declining. Then the 25th of October, 6th of November, workers' strikes and demonstrations developed. And we start to see workers' soviets and councils emerging, very similar to the communist councils in Bolshevik Russia. So by the 7th of November 1918, the Social Democrats, the largest party in German parliament, the Reichstag, led by Friedrich Ebert, demanded that the Kaiser abdicate from the war so they could try and stop this communist threat. Then on the 9th of November, a general strike started in Berlin. Ebert, fearful of a communist revolution, announced the abdication of the Kaiser and took control of the government. He created a democratic government led by the Social Democrats. The Kaiser fled and there was now Ebert in charge. So 11th of November 1918, the new Ebert government of the Reichstag signed a peace treaty, or peace accord, shall we say, to end the war. So all these factors are combined to enable Germany to sign for peace on 11th November 1918, and the war is over. So for you, really, it's then to decide which factors you think are the most important for your essays and for your exam skills to develop your argument. Okay, well, I hope you found it useful and you did then watch it through a few times and start to learn those keynotes for your exam skills. And of course, then have a look at my exam skills videos. I can tutor you through how to answer questions for this topic of why did the Allies win the war? Obviously, there's some significant big essay questions to consider for that. And of course, if you find that useful, then do take a look at my other videos, my revision guides as well, which you can find a link to in video notes. And I can talk you through how to be successful for lots of different questions and tutor you through to success. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.